Okay. But go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead
so
and finish.
anyway, yeah, I started working for an ad agency eventually, and I did this illustration style thing, and they liked it and made a website out of it. And as most ad agencies do, they enter it into awards. And I got lucky enough to win a Clio quite a few years ago, which is, you know, a pretty decent award, and a couple other little things along the way.
You said it was like the Grammy.
It's kind of like the
Grammy of advertising.
People who win these things say that it's like the Oscars of advertising. In other words, that's my way of getting around to saying, "Hey, it's like an Oscar of advertising."
Well,
but,
you know,
yeah, it's kind of a big deal, you know. It was a big enough deal that when I called my mom and said, "Hey, I want a Clio," she knew what it was. Because I guess Dick Clark used to have a Clio award-winning ads show at one point.
If mom knows what it is,
if mom knows what it is, that's all. That's good enough for me. So yeah, I continued to be a creative director, art director for a couple of different companies. I started up my own company for a while, and you know, rode the bubble. And I'm down here. I moved down here with my wife, my kid, and hooked up with a great agency called Accelerant Studios, and we're doing just, you know, really cool work. Really small studio, very boutique, very very selective in how we do things and how we get things done.
But you all got some heavyweight clients, though. Come on now, I've looked at the website.
Oh, absolutely,
I've seen,
absolutely.
He said very small studio. Yeah, small studio doing big things.
Yeah, well, that's what makes it fun. You know, you get your hands into a lot of great clients, and it's a lot of good clients too. Meaning, you know, there's we're doing a lot of work with cancer societies. We're doing a lot of work with political groups. We're doing a lot of work with organizations that are really trying to make a difference, and that's good. You know, we still do a lot of everything else, but it's good to have more companies that are doing good for the world that we're doing good for. So that's kind of fun.
Well, I mean, they're also doing good because they allowed my man Kentucky Jim to come in on It Is What It Is, because
thanks, Dave.
This show right here is also designed to maybe, you know, pique the interest of that next Kentucky Jim. You know, just like you said, you know, when you were in fifth grade or in elementary school, you know, a kid from junior high played the bass, and, you know, Kentucky Jim was born.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we know that of course, you know, when we start actually allowing you to play, you know, the upright bass later on and talk a little bit about it, we know that it's going to do great things, and it's going to pique the interest of somebody around the world.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, you know, if you're a musician and you play anything, you're a mandolin player, guitar player, whatever, learn to be a bass player. Learn to be a bass player, and it's different. It's not just playing the low notes. It's about being a force that moves music and shapes it, sometimes subtly, sometimes obviously, but shapes it to better portray the emotion that the music is supposed to have to begin with. Become a bass player, because you'll always have a gig. You'll always have people to play with, but it doesn't fit on a plane very well. It doesn't travel to the picnic.
Yeah, I mean, how do you actually, you know, travel with those?
Well, a while back, I rented a flight case because I had a gig with my friend Rit up in Wisconsin. So I flew up with it in a flight case in the middle of February, and flight case fell apart and everything went crazy. For the most part, whenever possible, I call ahead and rent an instrument somewhere else. But I'm so used to the way my instruments play.
Yeah, because that's a specially designed one, right? That we'll actually get to later. But that's
I had that made for me.
This one right here that I'm pointing to is specially made.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the other one is
the other one is what they call a CCB, cheap Chinese bass. You can get them anywhere off of eBay, really cheap. But if you know what you're doing with an instrument, know a little bit about setup, you can turn even the cheapest bass into something that's really playable. Well, I happen to prefer the sound of a cheap bass. I'm going to keep telling myself that until I can afford a nice one.
Well, you know, they normally say motor oil is motor oil, and it's not the size of the dog in the fight, but it's definitely the size of the fight in the dog.
For what I play, bluegrass and country and rockabilly and rock and roll, you know, you don't need, people aren't really hearing the subtle timbers of the instrument the way that you do with a lot of jazz and classical. So for me, doghouse bass is just fine.
I hear you. Doghouse bass is just fine. How much time we got? I just want to make sure that we have enough time, you know, for Jim to show us what, you know, the upright bass is, you know, some of the components, and we want him to actually, you know, show us. So look, what we'll do is we're going to actually allow you to, you know, do your thing on the upright bass, and we're going to come back and we're going to show, you know, our viewing audience, you know, what
Cool.
the upright bass is and what it does. So, you know, you all stay tuned. We're going to be back with my man Jim Faris, and of course I'm Dirk Lyman. So it is what it is. We'll get back at you in a couple seconds. Don't touch that. Get away from that dial.